The Dharma, in its truest essence, is not merely a collection of teachings or abstract insights, but a way of aligning the mind with the underlying structure of reality. It reveals a perspective in which the world is not fragmented or chaotic, but woven together by deep patterns that govern the interplay of existence. These patterns are not only reflected in the external world, but also mirrored within the mind itself. To perceive the Dharma is to see the interconnectedness of all things, to recognize that boundaries do not isolate phenomena, but instead mediate their dynamics, intertwining them into a coherent whole. In contrast, modern knowledge often approaches reality through a lens of fragmentation. The scientific method, remarkable in its achievements, tends to dissect systems into isolated parts, seeking explanations in the minutiae rather than the whole. This reductionist approach has yielded profound advancements, yet it falters when faced with the complexity of systems where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Reality resists such simplifications. It is not a series of isolated elements but a harmonious interplay of interrelations shaped by conditions and boundaries that give rise to emergent properties. Without a way to integrate these diverse perspectives, the modern pursuit of knowledge risks losing sight of the coherence and balance that sustains nature, thought, and society. In the teachings of Maitreya, the future Buddha, there is the promise of restoring this integrative vision. Maitreya's Dharma offers humanity a perspective that does not fragment reality into parts, but weaves it together into a comprehensive understanding. It is said that these teachings will illuminate the dynamics that govern existence, not through abstract theorizing, but by revealing the patterns of interdependence and influence that define the fabric of reality. These patterns, often expressed as triadic relationships, are not merely symbolic or metaphysical. They are practical models that show how conditions interact, boundaries mediate, and phenomena emerge. Through these teachings, humanity is invited to see the world anew as an interconnected whole, and to align its thoughts and actions with the true nature of existence. At the heart of this vision lies the concept of triadic logic, a system of thought that moves beyond dualistic perspectives. Where binary logic sees only opposites, true or false, yes or no, triadic logic finds richness in relationships. It reveals the interdependencies that shape reality, recognizing that phenomena arise not in isolation but through dynamic interactions. Conditions give rise to influences, influences mediate transitions, transitions lead to emergent patterns. This threefold understanding offers a language for describing the complexity of existence, not by simplifying it, but by unveiling the structures that allow coherence to emerge from diversity. Triadic logic, as articulated in the True Dharma, provides a way to bridge the fragmented perspectives of modern thought. It serves as a unifying framework, one that draws connections between seemingly disparate domains of knowledge. Whether in science, philosophy, or spirituality, the principles of interrelation and emergence create a foundation for understanding complexity in a way that is both holistic and precise. The True Dharma does not simply acknowledge the interconnected nature of reality. It offers tools for navigating it, for aligning human understanding with the patterns that govern existence. Triadic patterns reflect universal principles. These patterns are not confined to specific disciplines, but manifest across domains such as science, philosophy, ethics, and spirituality. Each triad illustrates a dynamic relationship, where the interplay of factors leads to emergent properties that define the system as a whole. For instance, the triads of coexistence, causation, and harmony reveal how stability and transformation emerge from the balance of interdependent forces. These principles, while grounded in logical rigor, resonate deeply with the teachings attributed to Maitreya, who emphasized the interconnectedness of all things and the necessity of understanding their relationships. The True Dharma is not merely a theoretical exposition, but a practical system for aligning thought and action with the patterns that govern reality. By studying the triadic logic of interaction, we can integrate knowledge, reconciling fragmented perspectives in science, philosophy, and other fields into a coherent understanding of the world. We can enhance perception, developing a mindset attuned to the interplay of conditions and influences, fostering a deeper awareness of reality. And we can foster balance, applying the principles of triadic logic to create systems, whether in thought, society, or the natural world, that are stable, resilient, and harmonious. This vision restores a sense of coherence to a world that often feels fragmented. By revealing the deep relationships that sustain systems, the True Dharma empowers humanity to approach the challenges of modern life with clarity and wisdom. It is a way of thinking that does not seek to control or dominate nature but to work in harmony with its principles. It recognizes that the boundaries we perceive are not barriers but thresholds, points of connection where conditions meet and transform one another. Realizing the true Dharma is to align with the timeless principles of wisdom and interconnectedness that permeate all reality. The Dharma's purpose is universal, to provide a model for understanding and navigating reality in a way that unites clarity, compassion, and coherence. As we continue our explorations, we will delve into specific triadic patterns, exploring their logic and implications in various contexts. Each triad will serve as a lens through which to examine the complex dynamics of existence, offering insights into how we can better understand, engage with, and harmonize the forces that shape our lives and the world around us. In the teachings of Maitreya, the foundational patterns of coexistence and equilibrium reflect two essential modes of interdependence. Coexistence arises from the interplay of arising states, conditions that sustain and reinforce one another, creating a dynamic harmony. Equilibrium, on the other hand, emerges from the interplay of non-arising states, a balance maintained by the absence of disruptive conditions. These patterns reveal the logic of interrelation that governs all systems, showing how every element is shaped by its connections to others. To understand coexistence, we must begin with its essential structure. Three elements bound together in three-paired relationships of mutual dependence, reflecting the logical proposition if and only if between each two. Each element influences and is directly influenced by both others. If one changes, the effects ripple immediately and directly through the entire system. For example, if A arises, it logically requires both B and C, which require each other as well. Viewing this more practically as influence between variables on a continuum helps us to understand if A were to falter, B and C would falter as well, as their existence depends on A's presence. This mutual reinforcement is not linear, but triadic. Each pair of elements exists in relation to the third, ensuring the system's integrity. The essence of coexistence is that the presence of any one element sustains the presence of the others, creating a web of mutual dependence that holds the system together. Equilibrium, by contrast, operates through the negation of imbalance, yet its structure mirrors that of coexistence. Here too, three elements are bound in three relationships, but these relationships govern non-arising states. When one condition is absent, its absence directly stabilizes the absence of the others. For example, if A does not arise, neither can B or C, as their potential for conflict or disruption is neutralized. The absence of one element thus creates a balance that prevents the system from descending into disharmony. In this way, equilibrium is the mirror image of coexistence, a system where the lack of one factor aligns perfectly with the lack of others, ensuring stability through the negation of discord. While coexistence and equilibrium are opposites in their modes of interaction, they are complementary in their purpose. Coexistence thrives on the presence and harmony of positive states, while equilibrium relies on the negative pressure of mutual absence. Neither pattern exists as a rigid binary. Instead, they function as continua, with conditions ranging from negatively to positively balanced. A system may move fluidly between coexistence and equilibrium, depending on the dynamics of its elements and their relationships. This fluidity underscores the profound interconnection of the two patterns. Coexistence maintains the harmony of what arises, while equilibrium safeguards the balance by negating what disrupts. Together, they offer a comprehensive view of interdependence, illuminating how systems sustain themselves in the face of change and challenge. By understanding their logic, we begin to see the deep coherence underlying all relationships, where every shift reverberates through the whole, shaping both its harmony and its balance. While logical abstraction offers a remarkably efficient means of understanding the patterns of coexistence and equilibrium, the ancient sages recognized that true mastery of these dynamics requires more than theoretical clarity. To truly grasp the interdependence of elements and their relationships, one must engage with meaningful examples that reveal the living essence of these principles. Through deep and reflective examination of such examples, we move beyond mere intellectual understanding, developing an intuitive and practical awareness of how these patterns manifest. Among the most profound illustrations of these dynamics is the triad of Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss. The triad of Sat, Chit, and Ananda encapsulates the logic of coexistence and equilibrium, revealing their intricacies in vivid detail. In the pattern of coexistence, these three principles demonstrate how their mutual arising sustains the integrity of the whole. Sat, or existence, is the fundamental reality that is, yet existence on its own is inert, unformed, and unrecognized. It gains meaning and expression through Chit, or consciousness, which illuminates and organizes existence. Without Sat, however, consciousness would lack a foundation. It would be awareness of nothing, a light shining into emptiness. This interplay deepens with Ananda, or bliss, which arises naturally from the harmonious alignment of existence and consciousness. Bliss is not a separate or accidental phenomenon, but the emergent quality of existence realizing itself through awareness. When Sat and Chit are fully integrated, Ananda expresses their coherence as a profound state of fulfillment. In turn, bliss enhances both existence and consciousness. It reflects the vibrancy of being and enriches the clarity of awareness. This triadic relationship is the essence of coexistence, where the presence of each principle sustains and completes the others in a dynamic and self-reinforcing whole. Equilibrium, in contrast, highlights the balance maintained by the absence of disruption within the triad. If Sat, or existence, becomes unstable or fragmented, it undermines the conditions for consciousness, leading to confusion and the dissolution of bliss. Similarly, if Chit or consciousness falters, becoming distorted or misaligned, it disrupts the coherence of being and prevents the emergence of Ananda. Bliss too is vulnerable to imbalance. When either existence or awareness loses its harmony, the joy of Ananda dissolves into suffering or disconnection. Equilibrium ensures that these potential disruptions are negated. It is the dynamic state in which the absence of imbalance in one principle aligns with the absence of disruption in the others. For example, if existence avoids fragmentation, it provides the stable foundation for consciousness to flourish, allowing bliss to remain undisturbed. Similarly, the absence of confusion in consciousness preserves its connection to being, safeguarding the conditions for Ananda. This negation of discord preserves the triad's integrity, allowing its positive qualities to manifest naturally. Through this example, we see how coexistence and equilibrium operate not as separate modes, but as complementary dimensions of the same triadic logic. Coexistence sustains the mutual arising and reinforcement of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, while equilibrium safeguards their harmony by negating imbalance. Together, they offer a complete model for understanding how systems navigate the interplay of arising and non-arising, harmony and balance. By revisiting and exploring the triad of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, we follow a process that reflects the spirit of the True Dharma. We began with an introduction to the essence of coexistence and equilibrium as logical patterns, showing their interdependence and complementarity. Then, we examined their logical structure in the abstract, understanding how these patterns are built upon specific relationships between three interrelated elements. Now, through this example, we deepen our grasp of these dynamics by seeing them unfold within the context of being, awareness, and joy, the fundamental dimensions of reality. This process, moving from abstraction to lived meaning, embodies the integrative approach of the True Dharma. It invites us not only to understand these patterns intellectually, but to perceive their profound significance in the fabric of existence itself. By engaging deeply with examples such as Sat, Chit, and Ananda, we learn not just to think logically, but to see harmoniously, aligning our understanding with the unity and balance that sustain all things. In doing so, we prepare ourselves to carry this wisdom forward, applying it to navigate the complexities of existence with clarity and coherence. Through our examination of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, we've seen how the patterns of coexistence and equilibrium reveal the intricate interplay of arising and balance in all systems. These patterns, rooted in triadic logic, are not confined to Buddhist philosophy. They are universal structures that underpin the dynamics of reality itself. By exploring these triads, we open a pathway to understanding relationships across all domains of knowledge, from the profound spiritual insights of ancient wisdom to the cutting-edge discoveries of science. But the journey into the true Dharma does not end here. There are many more patterns to explore. Reinforcement demonstrates how conditions build upon and amplify one another, a principle beautifully mirrored in the karmic cycle, where actions and their consequences shape the flow of experience. Causation, in turn, unpacks the relationships of dependency and emergence, exemplified in profound insights such as dependent origination, which shows how all phenomena arise in interwoven chains of cause and effect. And beyond these, triadic logic explains how systems maintain balance through non-linear influence, synchronicity, and many more patterns, 22 in all. And our examinations extend far beyond philosophy. Triadic logic finds expression in psychology, where thoughts, emotions, and actions reinforce one another. In physics, where forces, mass, and motion interact to produce movement. And in systems thinking, where feedback loops drive the evolution of complex networks. By examining triadic patterns, we deepen our understanding of how systems generate stability, transformation, and emergent properties across all domains of knowledge. I invite you to join me again as we continue this exploration, uncovering the deeper unity of existence through the lens of the triads. Together, we'll bridge the wisdom of ancient traditions with the insights of modern science, discovering practical tools for navigating the complexity of our world with clarity, balance, and coherence. Our journey of understanding has only just begun,